More multi-format fun. Let's crack on. Hello and welcome to another Mr. Vitabyte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as this is part 2 of looking at the ME machines. So in part 1 we looked at the SL200ME and two SL700ME machines. One was a Mark 1, one was a Mark 2. We sort of got the Mark 2 up and running, but we did, I think, discover we had first stage video processing problems. So the amp probably has something going on in there, and we may well look at that in this one, see how time goes and how everything pans out. But this is the Mark 1 with the noisy head bearings, and I've actually put the capstan motor out of the Mark 2 into here just to see what is actually wrong with it, and if it is still being crazy and doing all sorts of wonderful wonderfully weird things, if we can fix it. I will share a little bit of information about the Mark II as we go through the video, as to why I'm testing it now. The other problem I have is the front loading system. Actually, this is from the Mark II as well. Actually has a broken bit of plastic, which is basically here, and this is what pushes the basket down into the onto the spools. And luckily I do have that piece of plastic. You remember that from part 1, that I wondered what on earth that was, I think. Yeah, so we'll get that sorted as well. In fact, that's probably going to be the first thing I'm going to do, because I have already put the motor in. There we go. And I've lost the plastic cap. The plastic cap that goes on here that helps sort of keep this belt on has 3 plastic tabs, and 2 of those tabs are actually damaged, and I think actually broken off. But I will try and find it, and ultimately I'll just glue it on, to be fair. I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem. So with that, let's crack on and see if we can sort out the front loading system. Okay, so let's fix this front loading system. I have now extracted the bit of plastic that had broken off, and it's sort of quite interesting because it has a hole in the end. If you look at whether you can see that, there is actually a bit of metal there. So it just didn't carry that on a bit further, and make it so it's a lot stronger. But well, it is what it is. So that's the end. It's interesting that there's a hole here, and there doesn't appear to be a hole there. It's sort of like it's broken off where the hole ends. But yeah, so my thinking is I'm going to have to free off, or get to that that bit of plastic, which I can't do at the moment because this is in the way, and obviously I'm going to have to degrease it probably as well. So my thinking is I could strip it all down, but what I'm probably going to do is just take this gear off and then push the basket through. Alignment, oh, I forgot something, just poke in there. Yes, so that's the alignment hole for the jacked, so that's easy enough to line up. Actually, although they're very plasticky, they're really not that bad. Is that sprung? No, it's not. So the spring side of it is actually, when it's down, in the basket, so it's sort of down on the on the reels, and it's sort of tensioned up, so it's pressing on the reel table firmly. So that's quite cool. So, because I'm now covered in grease, so let's drive this. And what I do need to do as well, for some reason I've taken this off, and I wonder why I did that. If there is maybe something else going on, but we shall see. So you can see there that the plastic is broken off. So let's actuate that. You can see that it's actually using a plastic spring. It's actually flexing that bit of plastic, which in itself is quite fun, especially when it breaks. So I'm just going to bring that up a bit, and then I think what I'll do is use some isopropyl just to clean this up. Stuff there, don't want that getting in that gear. Okay, so yeah, give that a clean. But it has broken in such a way that it's not a clean break, it's sort of broken, sort of sheared off, so I'm going to have to work that out. So I'll do all of that off camera because there's no way I can really show you properly. But glues, I am probably going to use the Loctite glue, super glue, rather than the Gorilla Glue, just because Loctite, this glue, literally, it dries so quickly and it's super strong really quickly. The Gorilla Glue, it's great, takes longer to cure, could take up to 45 seconds, depending on coverage and material and all the rest of it. But it takes up to 24 hours to actually cure, and I want this to cure quite quickly, so it has like full strength really quickly. I probably will leave it sort of overnight anyway, and yeah, do it that way. But yeah, so I'll get and do that now. Okay, so that's glued on. I think it's pretty well on. You can still see there's some grease there, but I don't think that's compromised it. So now I need to take all of this off, because obviously I have to get this back on. Yeah, so let's do that. So 2 tabs there. We've got a tab under here. This just drops away. And take that gear off there. You can see there's another sprung section there. That's for the tape in. So this presses down when you push the cassette in, and tells the machine basically to run the motor for the loading. And is that how I want to do that? I think it is. Then unclip this. And I am going to have to take the top off, aren't I? To do that, to get that back in. So So there's a little tab there. Was that actually enough to get that over? I'd rather not take the whole lot apart if I didn't have to. Where does that allow things to slide? It doesn't. Right, okay, so it's going to have to come apart. This is where I sort of wish I could guarantee that isn't going to break again, but I can't really. Oh, it's broken again. Okay, so I'm going to have to sort out something. So I think what I'll do now is I will actually do a complete rebuild on this. I've obviously come far enough to do it, so yeah, that's going to be a good thing to do, I think, and find a better way to actually glue this back on. It's got contaminated grease as well, so yes, let's crack on. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually stripped off, using a scalpel, a little bit of the plastic, and my thinking is, so off this little bit of metal that reinforces that plastic, and if I put this the wrong way round over there, then that should be a good reliable joint with the glue. I have managed to get some grease in there, so I'll have to degrease it again, but yeah, I think that might do the trick. Okay, so here it goes. It's a sort of all or nothing. Hopefully I've got a good straight, I've tried to do it as straight as possible, the cut on the other end. Put some glue there, it's probably a bit much, and then tiny bit of glue on there. That's more than a tiny bit. Then we should be okay. That's way too much glue. Well, it's not perfect, but it is on. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's really very good. Yeah, you see, that's not quite good enough. I just wonder, is this a hole through? It isn't. It isn't a hole through. It's really weird. It's like it stops, and then it's not great, is it? I mean, the slight problem I have is I haven't managed to get that very straight, despite my best efforts. I wonder if I take it down maybe a bit more. Yeah, I might do that. Just take it down a bit more and try and get it as straight as possible, and then yeah, try again. Well, I've managed to trim it down a bit more. It doesn't sort of look very true somehow, but I'm going to glue it anyway. I'm going to glue it from this side only. It's not like I can put a sleeve on it or something, because obviously it's fitting into a passageway. Feels awful. Well, I think all I can do is just see what that's like. I mean, it'll run fine because obviously this where the brake is outside of the running sort of groove that this is going into this groove here. So yeah, that might be all right. That might be okay. It seems strong already, so I'm going to leave that, let it dry. I will let it cure overnight. I mean, I don't think it needs it because of the type of glue it is. Then we'll put it all back together, and time it up, and hopefully everything should be good to go. Okay, so it's on. It seems fairly strong, and yeah, I mean, as front-loading systems go, it's very cleverly designed, but you can see one problem is that the plastic is pressed onto the metal of the actual base of the basket. And over the years it actually causes it to crack. I don't quite see the cracks, but it all sort of just presses together, and it's really quite cool, really, how it all does fit together. So I now need to get this all back together and positioned properly. Now ordinarily I'd push this gear off, but it's incredibly tight, and I sort of don't want to do it. So I am going to line up this gear here and this gear here, and it looks like I haven't really bothered to align that, but there are holes. So hole there, and there's a hole down there which I won't be able to put that in. Okay, so that should, yeah, so that is going through. Let's just check that one is aligned with that one, which it's not. So let's push this out. I think that needs to come one tooth back. Yeah, so that's it. So you need to have an awful lot of fluff about tonight. That top first tooth needs to be above the first tooth of that gear, but obviously with the pokey things you can work it out. So I'll bring this up. So the other side at this stage, because I've got this gear off, this assembly off, It doesn't matter about the alignments on the other side. The gear is going to be correct, so that's fine. I've never had to do this like this before, so this could go horribly wrong. Like I said, I'd normally take off the other side, but I'm just too nervous. I'm going to break the gear. There's also this here, which needs to locate into that groove. So it's a little bit all hands on deck. You're probably not going to be able to see this very well, because I'm more worried about getting this in than looking at what the camera's doing. That's actually not a bad way to do it. Okay, so that's in. Oh gosh, that's falling apart. That's actually broken. See there? See what I mean about this falling apart? Okay, I think I'm going to have to glue that now. But it's just so... Yeah, I'm going to have to glue that and clean it all up. Ah, just when I thought we were going to get somewhere. We haven't. Now, the main problem with this, it's actually fairly easy to glue. But... a little tab to pull, which is probably going to break. Yeah. See, this is the problem. It's just this metal's expanded, contracted over the years, and it's just breaking up the plastic. This side seems to be okay. Like I say, I mean, it's full of cracks. There, it's just the problem with these decks at this age. So I think what I'll need to do is clean this all up, and then use our old friend super glue, I think. So yeah, I'll do that next. Okay, so glue's on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I mean, it's actually pretty clean. The break is actually clean. I don't know if you can really see that, but yeah, we should get away with that. There's not really any grease actually in that part where the glue needs to go. So I'm just moistening that and seeing if I can glue my fingers to it. I'd like to think once this is done, that's it. That will never break again because it's glued. But I mean, obviously it's going to keep expanding, contracting, and okay, so here it goes. I've let it dry for a minute or two, probably not really long enough, but anyway. So put the spring back on. push it on in the hope that the tab doesn't break. So that's good. And I'm going to put this in. So this is the right way, that's upside down. I really need to get that gear off, because this is not pleasant. I need to get that gear off. I have no choice. I'm just broken off the plastic. It's all just falling apart. Yeah. I thought I heard a bit of a clunk. Worries me, I just heard a bit more plastic break. This is the problem, it's just all so brittle. Oh, nightmare. Okay, so I'm going to have another go at gluing that. I'm almost tempted to use some amaldite this time. As long as it's not too overpacked, that might be the way to go. And part of me is almost tempted to take this down even further and find something else better than sort of this. But oh, I don't know. It's all just not really going very well. Just really struggling with all the... It's just the plastics. I'm just so nervous about breaking the plastics. Like I say, I have to take that gear off, at least one end, and yeah, just try and get the whole thing apart. Okay, so things sort of went from bad to worse. I stripped off some more of the plastic, but in the process of doing that, I've managed to break off a little bit more of the actual metal. And I'm sort of tempted to try and extract this metal now, because, well, I think it's causing more problems than it's actually solving at the moment, having that there. And I'd almost want to push through from the other side, maybe with a pin, clothespin, push that through, and then basically mount everything back on. I can sand down the plastic on both sides to make sure that they mate nicely, and drop a good one. I don't think it would matter if there was a pin head just slightly proud there, because the cassette will miss that, and it's rounded off anyway, so it wouldn't catch, but it would be so strong. So yeah, it's just, do I risk doing that and potentially make things a heck of a lot worse again? But I think that's my sort of chosen direction at the moment. Yeah. Well, I sort of wish I'd videoed this actually, because it was a bit of a long shot. I was really struggling to get this sorted somehow. I mean, yeah, that metal pin was so well in there. I did try pushing it out, but I mean, it's not perfect. But what I've done is I pushed it on. The remainder of the pin, it was so solid that I just thought, well, let's try and use it. So I have pushed this on. I actually had to use grips in the end to push it on, which is like really nerve-wracking, to be fair. But I gently pushed it on, got it on as tight as I could, and I actually used a soldering iron just to very carefully drag plastic from sort of up here onto the joint, and I've gone right the way round and then just given it a little bit of a file down, and I mean, it seems pretty solid. It's certainly a lot more solid than using super glue. I just don't think this plastic glues very well with super glue either. I mean, we'll see, because obviously I've done that other bit that fell off. So far, that seems to be solid, but then I suppose the way that's sort of what it is, it's not an awful lot of stress on there, whereas this has quite a bit of stress, but that seems to have done it, so I'm really chuffed with that. So yeah, well, we'll see, but yeah, let's put it back together. Okay, so several days have passed and I just have run out of time every evening to actually put this back together, which is not the greatest thing, to be honest, because when you leave stuff like this, you forget, and yeah, and I'm also slightly concerned I might have lost the spring. But let's try and put it back together. Yeah, so to get that somewhere near, and then we've got this one. So let's just get a little pokey thing. I seem to remember this is just the right size, so that's aligned. And then I've got to look for the hole. So hang on a sec, this goes on here. Let's get that lined up. Like so. Yeah, that looks right. So then we've got this one. Then so there's a hole there, and that hole corresponds to that hole there. Is that right? No, it's that hole there. So that hole corresponds to that hole. And another one of these. So that should lock. And then we have this here, and that has its own hole, which is, you can see that it's just there. See it below where the shaft comes through. So somewhere like that. Sorry, the camera work is terrible, I know. And I should have lined this up first. You do it from the front, work your way back. I don't know whether it's going to let me pull that through. No. So let's take this off. And this off. And push that on. And that is aligned. See the hole there? Stick a little, a smaller one for that, I think. Yeah, much smaller. So it goes there, and it actually goes into the first tooth as well, so that's quite handy. Then goes on there, then this goes on there. It's actually not a bad way to do it with the Allen keys, because it it sort of slides in. This has dropped out there, which is fine. There's a little bit there. Plastic springs, always a favourite. And I think I can put the cover back on now. The cover just clips on. So I'm happy to sort of pull these out now. Just holding it all together. It's not like it's going to spring apart, but I'd rather it didn't fall apart. Might have been nice to replace the grease, and I may well do that. But at the moment, we're just getting this going, so yeah. So let's put this in. So that's gone in. One thing I'm slightly concerned about is that is on. So super. And then this needs to go into the rail there. Now I'm slightly fighting, well, you can see that's just sprung out. That's fine, I'm going to leave that out for now. That's actually not gone in. So obviously that has to go in there. That has to go in there. Jobs are good and so far. Okay, so I now need to find a way of getting this to sit properly while I put the top on. And we can really see that where the end of the spring goes. So there's a little peg, and there's a little bit of plastic that rises up. And it sort of goes in there. It is just literally a stop. So it's stopping the basket from getting pushed in if a hand goes through the front flap or whatever. Needs to be a cassette to lift this up and unlock the basket. So that's cool. Then just feeding the end of that through the rod, linking rod. Oh, it's gone a bit funny. gears off, so this has come out again. You weren't seeing that, but it basically I didn't get it located properly. Okay, so this now clips in. I know I'm not showing this very well. I must apologise. I usually do a bit better job than this. That's in. Everything's in. Let's say this is not looking quite right. But it is going together. There we go. So that's together. So turn this round and push on the gear. And this gear, I can't remember if I actually showed taking this off, but it is incredibly tight. But if you're really, really careful, it just prizes off, basically. Pushing it on might be slightly fun. Yeah, so that was actually okay. It's actually absolutely fine. And then same drill. So use my Allen key to align this. Magic. It's on. So that's cool. And like I say, I think I'm missing a spring, possibly. I don't know if this it's a stray spring from something else I've been working on, or something I scrapped, or not. But anyway, let's put the front flat back on. I have got greasy fingers, but hey ho, it is what it is. Now, what do I have to do here? Do I have to load this in? Okay, so I think the problem I have is that this doesn't actually go where I've put it. And what's more is this needs to be longer, so this can actually locate as well. So let's just have a look. Just see what's going on. I wonder if it's oh, This is not feeling good. So all my timing holes are lining up. Let's just try putting this back together. This sort of feels wrong somehow. I don't know why. That's there. That's worked. Okay, so with that down, let's get the door back on. Might as well clean my hands a little bit so I'm not making this a total mess. I'm not sure I actually can do this any easier. What am I missing? Oh, I see. Yeah. That's the spring. So just push it in past that spring. I just get so nervous because the plastic's so brittle at this age. I just have to drive this a little bit. I'm just a bit concerned that it's a bit gritty, but it seems okay. I just wonder if that repair is going to be any good. Well, because the problem is it's so greasy that my finger slips, so it's almost like a natural clutch that I'm hardly putting any pressure on that motor. Well, it's there, it's done, it's fairly good. Like I say, I think that spring is just a stray spring from something else I've worked on or scrapped or whatever. So yeah, that's good. I don't know where it's gone either, so it's even better that I didn't need it. So yeah, let's get it back in the machine. Okay, so Okay, so I think we're in a fairly good state to try this out. So let's see, we'll try a power cassette first. Like I say, I'm still in two minds whether this motor is bad. Oh, that's not... Yeah, well, that's the first problem. I've not got the front flap right. So let's take the front back off. I just hate pushing plastic. It's so hard. There we go, in the last. Oh, it's still not. Oh gosh, it's pulling out. Oh dear. Oh, this is not going terribly well. I can't see what I've done wrong there, because this is in the last tooth. Got the spring wrong. And that's as far as it goes. Oh, I see what I've done. So, oh, I really don't like pushing against plastic springs. Yeah, no, that's no better. I've obviously done something wrong here. Oh, gosh. Oh. Another cassette bites the dust. Well, it'll be okay. I just don't know. What have I done wrong there? Because that should have located correctly. I just wonder if I've located that in the wrong place when I put that first gear in. Yeah, that's annoying. I do also wonder if I've plugged the capstan motor in. I have. Yeah, suggesting we've got a capstan motor issue. Interesting that the Mark II doesn't seem to be bothered if the capstan motor's bad. Interesting. So it looks like the Mark II doesn't care. Ah, that is interesting. So we better sort out that bad front loading. I'm just looking for a screwdriver. That's right in front of me. Issue, which means taking it all apart again, and I'm going to have to pull that gear again, which I'm not a massive fan of. Fair play, they seem to be pretty robust, but it's just a bit of a pain, to be honest. And I really should have taken more notice of that. I think I was just so worried about breaking the plastics that I've actually caused myself more problems than I've solved. But well, that's the way it goes sometimes, isn't it? So try and do the right thing and keep things as intact as possible. There we go. Let's move this out of the way. So, I'm pretty sure I am going to have to take this, at least partially strip it down. Or maybe not. Let's pull this gear off, and this gear off. I should be able to get back on. Right, okay. So this actually uses this gear to actuate it, and I don't know. I guess I've got it wrong. I must have. I suppose the only way we can find out is to take it apart again. Well, that's really not a good way to do it. I think I'm going to take this off again and get a better purchase. Just gets, I'm so nervous of breaking plastic. It is coming. Magic. Okay. Yeah. Don't know quite what I've done wrong there. Let's just take that out. So that won't go any further. So let's put that back in, which shouldn't need time because we know it's the first tooth. Goes in to the first gap in there. So I have got that wrong. Yeah, I think did I slightly mistime that? Yeah, I wonder if I slightly mistimed it because that is now. It's too big. I caught out last time doing that, didn't I? That that was too big. I think that's what I did because I used. I pushed it out now. It's not very good because I used a sort of freer Allen key. It could be one tooth out, so I think that was one tooth out. So I'll have to see how that looks on the other side. But that when I look through now, looks absolutely perfect. But that's not where it was. This first tooth here was actually in there where the second tooth is. So I must have just got that a bit out. Okay, well that's good, I think. And of course we can check it. Check that it is actually opening up when it's supposed to. We've got this one. I'm doing that by eye, but I should be able to get that one in, which is fine. And then this one. Again, do it by eye and then we'll check it. Yeah, that's good. Try to put it off as I pull that out. Let's put this cover back on. I've actually done this the wrong way round. They go on much easier if you do it from the back, from this side first. This all seems to line up better. So that one, so we're looking here, that is also correct. So let's put this back on. And that should self-align, to be honest, because the basket's there. I mean, obviously the basket can move, but I should be able to stick this through. Yes, I can. Yeah, that's where it should be. So with that gear, first tooth is the other side of the first tooth of this gear. And that makes it correct. Okay. So just get that grease off my fingers. And we should be able to put the door back on. Plastic spring, which feels like it's going to break any minute. Okay, so I have to help it a bit because of the grease. The fingers just slide on the grease. So that's worked. That's where it should be. Now, will it open? Is the next question. Yes, it has. So it's just literally just that one tooth out, even though it would line up with a fairly loose rod, it's wrong. So first tooth of the bar assembly gear has to be above the first tooth of the basket driving gear. Oh, well, wait. Let's drive this back out. Super. Sorted. So, that's the machine. And let's get this put back in. Bearing in mind we need to get this lead in the right place as well. Okay, so let's power it on. I'm not going to use a proper cassette. I'm going to use the blank cassette. Now the only thing with this is I do have to push down the release tab because it relies on the front flap. Right, that's perfect. So next thing, let's have a look at that capstan motor, because we know that's the fault. Because it was working, now it isn't. Only thing we've changed is the capstan motor. I know we've changed the front loading system as well, but that's fine, it works. So yeah, I need to drop that back out. So motor's out, and I didn't show it, but I did actually remove it without removing the ACE head. You can do it if you're careful, if you know the screws aren't too tight, which I know they're not because they've just been done up. It's not something you want to do if the screws are super tight, which they don't seem to be on these machines. There is no adjustment on these either. On the earlier decks you had a little grub screw. You could actually fine-tune the slant of the capstan assembly to do some solder on this. I don't know if the iron's fully up to temperature, even though it's saying it is. I tend to find it takes a while for it to actually get up there. It seems to be alright now. It's just the solder is suffering. Oh, one of them isn't quite free. So there it is. Onto some flexi. Not sure what that is actually. It's like glass or something. Let me know if you know how this is actually constructed. It almost looks like, or maybe just a bit of plastic with a film. I don't know. I really can't see how that's done. It's interesting. So let's clean these up. I have been told that it's not a bad idea just to go around all of these and like everything, clean the chip, take the chip off, clean the pads, and then remount it. Don't think I'm going to do that. The cap that was on here, I seem to remember it wasn't leaking, or maybe it was, that's why I changed it. I can't remember. I mean, I can't remember. It's so long ago. I mean, it looks pretty clean. I have to say, all of this doesn't. So we have actually got the same issue, the 200ME, and I'm sure that is literally just the same thing. This capstan motor is bad. I'm actually going to just mop this back up, so don't think I've gone mad. I'm just soldering everything together. I think it does need to be cleaned. So what more than likely will happen is I don't think I'm going to get much further with this machine now. Oh, that's not bad. It's not bad. I do just wonder about what's going on there. Yeah, I just don't know. It just doesn't look great. I do wonder what I can do with this as well, to be honest, because let's have a put it the right way up. Well, I suppose solder it back up and see if that has made a difference. So I've just cleaned the board with a toothbrush and some isopropyl 99.9%. It does actually look a lot better. I was concerned about this resistor here because it looks so dull on the end of it. Did also check to make sure that I wasn't shorting trace there, although I think it does go to that resistor anyway, so that's cool. But yeah, that's all done. It doesn't look too bad. My eyesight is shocking at the moment. So yeah, forgive me for not making maybe the tidiest job. You can see where it's been caught with an iron before. I think I did that when I did this. Just briefly glanced this. This is like a plasticized magnetic ring. So yeah, it melted really quickly. It's just a very quick, just glancing blow. Doesn't matter. You can see there it sort of misses the well, it shouldn't cause any problems at all, to be honest. I suppose I could find that piece of plastic as well. That might happen. So yeah, I suppose we ought to try it, see what happens. So I've powered it back on, and I've not bothered mounting the motor because I don't think this is going to work. What I've done as well is I have a cassette. It's one we broke in a previous video actually, but obviously there's no real drive or anything. There's just nothing with the motor out, so I don't want to wreck a tape. So I'm going to put the cassette in. And yeah, I just think this is just not working at all. So if I move the capstan, it's fine. it's laced. Interesting. Let's try. It's obviously still really noisy bearings. And that's it. That's shut down now. So it's definitely the capstan. So that's actually quite interesting that I can lace the tape. If I move this, then I can get it to lace the tape, and it proves that this is the problem. So I am stuck until I can either sort out this capstan motor or find another one. So what I'm thinking now is let's just whip off the back cover of the 200ME and do the same thing. Move this, just rotate it, lace a cassette, just see what happens. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so the 200, I don't know how well this is going to work upside down, but we'll give it a go. Oh, so that's quite different. Okay. So that's actually... now, yes, it is still the capstan. It's because it's running too fast, so there's no control on the capstan motor. It's basically just racing much faster, running much faster than it should. So, yeah, this could be fun. It may well be worth me taking this motor out and basically giving that a good clean up and just double checking the sensor, the holes. I might even take the chip off, because it's all pretty horrible, to be honest. Not as bad as the other motor, but yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So with that, I think I'm going to leave it here. Interesting that the capstan motors do cause such issues. And I do wonder if there is a service mode on these that allows you to sort of override the errors, so you can actually see what's going on. And maybe that's why the Mark II 700 doesn't seem to really mind about having a bad capstan motor. I just wonder if it's been put in service mode, links being soldered or whatever. I will look into the manual for that. Yeah, we will continue this battle, and I am determined to get these going. It would be so nice to get these going, especially this one, the C-Cam one. So it's PAL C-Cam, and yeah, but yes, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe as well. Really does mean a lot to me. We've got lots of really interesting content to come, including some slightly different machines as well. Just picked some up today, actually. So yeah, really looking forward to working on some very different kit, and some Pro kit as well, which would be quite nice in the fullness of time. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in another video. Bye for now.